Welcome in, welcome
Seven
in,
whole ass months.
welcome in. How is everyone doing? Let's get started with some Dynasty trades. We've got the first trade of the show on the board. We'll get right into it, and then we'll jump into a little bit of intros and such and so's and so's. That's not anything. Number one trade today. Let's take a look at it. We've got a trade coming from Coolio in a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR scoring on one side of the deal. Patrick Mahomes, Chris Rodriguez, and a 27 first. Now, the notes that I have here say that it's a late first. On the other side of the deal, we've got Saquon Barkley, Jordan Love, and Marvin Harrison. So how do we break this down? Now, what I will add is that I don't typically know if a first is going to be a late first, a mid first, an early first, etc. So I just call it a random first. You'll see that in my trade videos on TikTok. I do just call them, hey, it's a random first. We don't know. I've seen trades go from, we think this team, I've seen firsts go from, we think this is the worst team in the league to, oh, they finished middle of the pack. 101 is not 106. We can see this happen the same way in reverse. A late first, it's not always late. So in this deal, Mahomes, Chris Rodriguez in a first, or Saquon Barkley, Jordan Love, and Marvin Harrison. How do I feel about this deal? Well, on one side, Mahomes and a first. I'm going to count that as a solid 2 firsts for Mahomes. I probably would need more than 2 firsts to send Mahomes away. And then another first on top in 2027 is going to get us to like 3 firsts, and Chris Rodriguez worth like a late second. And then on the Saquon Barkley side, we've got Barkley, Jordan Love, and Marvin Harrison. Jordan Love is comfortably way over a first. Saquon Barkley is probably around a first right now. It's not something I would want to pay. And then Marvin Harrison is also easily a first. I think this is a really close deal. And I'm probably going with the Mahomes side. I think we're going to see another bounce back year from Mahomes coming off of this injury, and we'll get him back to where he's been. The 27 first is probably going to go up in value. Chris Rodriguez doesn't really play a lot in this trade. My concern here is, like, I think these are both really 2 even sides. But when we get to the end of this year, if Marvin Harrison doesn't take a step forward, I'd worry about that. And then if Saquon Barkley doesn't bounce back after what we saw last year, there's a good chance his value takes a heavy dip. If you look at SpoTrack, I've got it pulled up. Let's swap to the browser here. Oops. Excuse me, I don't have the browser available to show. It'll take me about 2 seconds. There it is. We got the browser ready to go. Saquon Barkley, if you look at his contract, like if he doesn't work out in 2027, he could just, or in 2026, he could just be cut by the Eagles. If you use this website, spotrack.com, you can check out any player's contract, and they'll often throw in this line here, potential out, where they estimate, I'm pretty sure this is my guess of what this is. I am guessing that this says Spotrack 2027 is when they see that the Eagles could get out on this contract. So if things don't go well, we could see Saquon Barkley off of the Eagles. Now, not necessarily out of the NFL, but just out of this contract. Maybe they restructure the contract, maybe something. But if we go back to this trade and we're sending away Mahomes and a first, and we're bringing in Barkley, Love, and Marvin Harrison, I see more risk on the Saquon Barkley side. So I'm going to say I like the Mahomes and a first side in this deal and go with that one on the first trade of the day. Thank you guys for joining in. We're just getting stuff started here. We see people filtering in. We got Fantasy RZ with the follow. I'm not getting audio cues of the follows, but thank you very much. Got Nico. I know you, so mostly Dynasty. Where do you want to be in a redraft 1 to 10 this year? Nico, where do I want to be in a redraft from 1 to 10 this year? I don't have a preference. I never have a preference when we're talking about where I want to be in a redraft pick. It's probably one of the things I spend the least amount of time on. Usually, like, it just doesn't come into play with who wins the championship. There isn't ever really a correlation between which pick you have in a redraft league and where you finish in that league. By the time we get to December, like late November, December this year, No one is going to be saying like, man, I had the first pick and it really affected my league. It's going to be people saying, I picked up Michael Wilson and he's winning me my league, and the pick that I had didn't matter. So where do I want to be from 1 to 10? Nowhere. I do not care at all. Let's check in on the chat. That was a message from the chat. We've got Fantasy RZ. Love the content. Would love to be able to hop in and talk some football with you. We're talking ball right now. Dwilly, is worth trading a high first-round pick for Ibuka? If I only have to give 1 first-round pick for Ibuka, yes, I think that's fine. Tony traded, and then we've got some people in the chat saying their trades. Like, here we go. Tony just traded Justin Jefferson, and I see a lot of stuff on there. We are really only going to cover trades that come through the website. So if you want to see your trade covered on one of these trade shows, we do these Wednesdays, and then as more and more trades back up, we may find that we need to do them more often than just once a week. But on Wednesdays, we do them here, and we go through the trades that we have queued up on the site. So Coolio submitted theirs a while ago. Their trade is listed right here. We're going to jump to the next one. And before we jump to the next one, I'll switch over to the browser view and go over how to submit your trade, because we've got our website, boombustfantasy.com, where we handle these, and we don't take them in the chat, because one of the best ways to give the best advice is by knowing your league scoring, knowing the context of your league and where your team stands. So let's switch over to the site here, pull up the browser. I saw someone joined and it threw me off. A Steve something had joined. It threw me. So here's our website, boombustfantasy.com. If you are not logged in, I'll log out and we'll just take you through. If you are looking to have your trades reviewed on one of these shows, really what you do is you come to our website. It's going to say, Dynasty Fantasy Football, all trade and team advice queries are free while we have the site in testing. If you hit get started, it's just going to have you click sign in or create your account. You continue with Discord. Right now, we take all of our signups through your Discord account for authorization. We'll open this up to email. Tony says the website never works. This is the live website. Continue with Discord. You authorize with your Discord account, and then it will log you in. It'll pull up your profile here. You may need to come into your profile page and type in your username on sleeper.com and sync your leagues, and then it's going to pull all of the leagues that you're in. You select whichever league that you want and come to trade advice and type in your trade here. And as long as you click request expert review, your trade will get covered on the trade show going forward. You can also post your trades to Discord using post to Discord for community feedback. That is how you get your trades on this show. So we have messages in the chat saying how to get asking trade questions. This is where we take our trades, because we can't just give you blanket advice. Dynasty is a bit more open than maybe redraft with the league settings, and the league settings matter. We're probably going to cover that as we get through trades on the show, and you'll see that. Michael says, what are we going to do with Bucky Irving? As a blanket answer, what are we going to do with Bucky Irving? The answer is generally always be open to trade everyone, Michael. You're in a league with 10, maybe you're in a 10-team league, you're in with 9 people. If you're in a 12-team league, you're in there with 11 other people. See what they will do with Bucky Irving for you. With the question of what are we doing with Bucky Irving, depends on your league. What's being offered in your league? And then we figure something out. But always be open to trade your players. Let's go with the next trade. I'll queue it up on the page here. We've got one coming in from Let Loose is the username I have. Now this is my first time seeing this one here. Let's see. Tony says, I submitted my trade and no one helped me or answered my question. I get it. You don't want to give advice with a laughing face. I think that's just a misinterpretation of what's happened. The concept that any sort of advice would just be free to you is, I'm here offering free advice. But Tony, I don't know if you were answering questions here. We have our Discord where these trades get posted and people answer each other's trades. If they didn't cover yours, I'm not sure how many you covered of theirs. I feel like we're missing something on here. We've got the trade here from Let Loose, the Beers, the Boys, and the Football. And Tony, watch this. We're going to cover this one. Ashton Genty or Kyron Williams and a first in a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR with a half-point tight end premium. This is the format I use in my leagues. And in this deal, looks like let's see if the TikTok feed comes back. I think we're back on TikTok. This is a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR half-point tight end premium. Ashton Genty or Kyron Williams and a 27 first. On a calculator, it may say that Kyron Williams and a first gets you close to Genty. I think I'm just taking the Genty side here. I'm just going to end up with the Genty side here. I'm clicking Genty as the winning side here. I'm going to submit this one. I don't know that I need to give that much context on top. If I have Genty and I'm trying to down tier, I could see doing something like this. I think I may want a slightly higher running back. And in this situation where I'm only bringing in Kyron and a first, I'm looking at the team here. I think the team sending this is the team with Kyron Williams. I'm taking Genty. So what we have from Let Loose is they are the Kyron Williams side. I'm saying Genty's fine here. If you're sending Kyron and you're first to get Genty, that's A-okay with me. And then let's just do a smidge of housekeeping. It's wild that the option for block someone also prompts you if you want to make them an admin. What's the word I'm thinking of? Not an admin, a moderator. My wife is in the room. She heard me. The message, the option to block someone also says, do you want to make them a mod? Like, I hope I don't misclick it, but no, I would like that person blocked. Here we go. Next trade. Let's bring this up. This comes from Pillsbury 133. Before we bring this one up, I saw one come in from Angel's Fill Room. Sorry to throw you off if you're going to bring back the gaming streams. And this is one of the reasons I jumped to this. We cover gaming every day. We do gaming streams every day. We have just migrated those. There's a full separate, you're on TikTok, Angel. We've got a separate gaming TikTok, Boom Bust Gaming, where we do gaming streams every day. So we just wanted to keep things separated. If you just want to cover fantasy football, this page will only provide fantasy football things. And then if you want the same person doing gaming, we have Boom Bust Gaming. We cover that every day. 11 to 2, same time slot that we were doing fantasy chat before. And the next trade we have here, Pillsbury 133. This is a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR with a 0.75 tight end premium. On one side, we've got Garrett Wilson and Chase Brown. On the other, it's Malik Neighbors and Chuba Hubbard. And this, like, just first glance, thoughts on this? Like, I like Malik more than I like Garrett Wilson. I like Chase Brown way more than I like Chuba. So if we're looking at what's fair here, I mean, if you send, let's start to rephrase this trade and break it down in different ways. If we're sending away Malik, can we get Garrett Wilson and Chase Brown? I don't know that you can. I think if you got that deal through, people would be surprised. So if you're throwing in Chuba Hubbard to make that deal happen, I could. But if I have Malik Neighbors, am I looking to do this deal? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So which side of this do I like? I mean, if I have Garrett Wilson and Chase Brown, am I sending it for Malik? This is feeling super even to me. This is feeling pretty even. If we're just looking at upside in 2026, there is a realistic chance that Jonathan Brooks doesn't come back and look very good at all. Like, that's realistic. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it is viable. It's possible. And is it possible that Malik comes back and is healthy and takes a step forward? Yeah. And is that more likely than if Garrett Wilson comes back and has a big bounce back to get to where we thought he could be? Also, yeah, I'm gonna call this one like super even. If you just want to feel more comfortable about, like, if so, maybe I'll rephrase this. I'm gonna call it even, but if I have Malik Neighbors, I'm not looking to send it. If I have Garrett Wilson and Chase Brown, could I do this for Malik? Yeah, but it's not. So I'm going to say just barely the Malik side. takes the win here. I almost just clicked like on the site. I can mark something as even, or a team barely wins, or a team wins. I'm going to say the Malik side because I feel slightly more comfortable about Malik over Garrett Wilson. I don't feel great about Chuba Hubbard, but we've covered a bit of that. Let's pull up the next trade and get through these because I think we had about close to 20 at the start of running this. And I don't know if I have the speaking capacity to talk through 20 of these. We got the next one on here. It's also from Pillsbury in the same league, scoring 12 team start 10 PPR Superflex tight end premium. Sending away Garrett Wilson. This is just a different option of what this person could do with Garrett Wilson. Send away Garrett Wilson, Odunze, and Brock Purdy. I have their thing scored up, their thing pulled up here. Looks like it's a trade with the same team because they would be getting Chuba Hubbard again. Would I send Wilson, Odunze, and Purdy to bring in Daniels, McLaurin, and Hubbard? Is this better? I feel like we're adding in a lot of slop on the side with Jaden Daniels. So remember, the Jaden Daniels team here is also the same team that was the Malik Neighbors side. So this is the same person, Pillsbury, with Garrett Wilson, sending Wilson, Odunze, and Brock Purdy for Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Hubbard. If I have Garrett Wilson, Odunze, and Purdy, I think I'm hanging out and holding the Wilson side and sticking with Purdy. Purdy has been pretty solid. Jaden Daniels is most likely the best player and has the highest upside, but I think I'm just going to stick pat with Garrett Wilson. I don't know that I would make that deal. Let's pull up the next trade. Look at that. Pops right up. Here we go. This is an 8-team, 1 quarterback, 8 starters, half-point tight end premium. So this is going to be a very different format than what we just covered. And when we jump from a 12-team start 10 to an 8-team, 1 quarterback start 8, you're starting like half as many people. So if you're in a 12-team start 10, just super fast math, 12 by 10 is 120 players you have to start each week. To an 8-team start 8, that's 64 players. You're starting almost half as many players. So the best options here become way more valuable. In this trade, we got Trey McBride on one side with Kyron and the 308. The 308 would be in an 8-team league, so you do have to do a slight conversion to pull that back. Omarion Hampton, a mid-first, and the 207. I think we're taking Trey McBride here. We're just going with McBride. McBride becomes more valuable, especially in an 8-team league where McBride is going to outscore all tight ends no matter what and give you value in that way. This might be closer in a deeper league, but if you're just in a league that's 8-team start 8, you want the best piece, and it's McBride. Kyron Williams is also really solid. The 27 first, is that doing enough here? Not really. It's McBride over Hampton, Kyron around the same as the first, and then like the 308. I'm taking the Trey McBride side here. Just because this adds way more value to McBride on his scoring over other tight ends. Let's move on to the next one here. And this is coming from the same person, Portuguese Power, same league settings, 8-team, 1 quarterback, start 8. On one side, we have Lamar. It's a 1 quarterback league. Lamar Jackson in the 408 or a mid first and a 203. Let's see the notes here. He has Dak, Trevor, and trying to get Kyler Murray. You also don't mind losing this year to start a rebuild. They have the 108 pick, which means they performed pretty well in the last year. And is this a team that should be punting a player? They have Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Let's jump into kind of showing this team. I'm going to grab this, move this over here. It does take me a moment to be able to pull up more context of the league. But because we're going 8-team, 1 quarterback, let's take a look at like what does this guy have? We'll throw the browser up here. Lamar, a 27 first, What are we looking at with a mid 27 first? That's kind of the crossover. Is it Lamar or a really solid wide receiver prospect? If it's just in the middle of the 27 first, they've got Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Am I sending Lamar for this? I'm expecting a bounce back to being one of the top quarterbacks. I think Lamar's going to have more value than that first round pick. And then is it enough in a 2026 to take on the 203 where you're probably getting, if it's an 8-team league, what's the math on that? The 203 becomes around like the same as a 111 where you're getting an okay running back prospect. I think I'm just sticking with Lamar. I think we get a year from now, there's way more chance that this side has more risk. 27 first is going to hold its value and go up. The 203, even in an 8-team league where it's closer to a first round pick in a 12-team league, could very likely lose a lot of value. And I think we're just going to get a bounce back from Lamar. So I'm taking the Lamar side on here. If I have Lamar, this is not the type of deal that I'm looking to send it away in, that I'm looking to send him away in. And this trade specifically came from the side, the manager having Lamar. Like, just be open to other options. This one feels like an opportunity cost where I would rather just hold Lamar. Let's jump back into this view and hit the next trade. This one comes in from Jay Healy. The league is Sweet Home Chicago. It's updating right now. There we go. Jay Haley, the league is Sweet Home Chicago. It is a 12-team start 8 half-point PPR, no tight end premium. And I think it's a super flex. My guess is that it's a super flex. I'm going to talk about it like it's a super flex and make a note to say 6-point passing touchdowns. It seems to be not showing the quarterback count. So we'll update that for next week. Right now, all the trades that you submit to the site are free to do for this specific reason. We're just trying to find all the issues, all the bugs, so that we can get things moving even more smoothly. What we've got here is a 12-team. It says 6-point passing touchdown. I just need to update the site to determine is this super flex or a 1 quarterback. We're going to talk about it like it's a super flex, and there's no quarterbacks involved here, so it's not going to matter. What are we looking at? We're looking at an early 27-second they project, and that becomes an issue because I don't know that it's going to be early. Or Chris Olave and the 107 for Ted McMillan. I have a feeling if you're making this trade right now, what are we looking at? The 107 in this year's draft in a 12-team league. There's no tight end premium in this league. So someone like Kenyon Sadiq becomes a little bit less valuable in this year's draft. He might go at 106 in a tight end premium. At 107, he could be there in this league. Or you're hoping that someone like Casey Concepcion, Cooper out of Indiana, or another wide receiver is, or a few other wide receivers are taken in the first round to make this 106 really hit. Otherwise, you're taking maybe the second running back in this year's draft class who isn't that good. I may, if I have Olave, am I sending the 107 to get Tet and an early second? I think I'm just worried about this early second. I've got the context here. Let's see, Jay Healy is the team with Tet McMillan. If I send Tet and a second, would I swap to Olave and a first? I could, but I'm going to add in the context of this team. This manager has multiple receivers. They have Amon-Ra, they have Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Tet McMillan. I don't see a reason to make this deal. Maybe you bring in another okay receiver at 107, but I think there's enough risk with what happens at 107 that I'm just going to hold Tet and hope that this second stays early. I'm looking at their team. I don't see a reason why this would become an early second. We'll call it even, but say like, just stick with the Tet side. With the opportunity cost of moving Tet McMillan to go to Olave, I don't know that we really know which side of those two is going to be better. And then the 107, like I like the youth of Tet McMillan. now that I'm saying this out loud, I like Tet slightly more than Olave for long-term future. And then the 107 to the early second isn't enough to get me to move. So I'm going to stay with Tet because the person who asked this question has Tet McMillan. I wouldn't do that deal. Let's jump to the next one. Ooh, this one looks pretty easy. I think so. 10-team Superflex start 11. So slightly deeper on the starters, but more shallow on the number of leagues. Superflex, half-point tight end premium, PPR scoring. Are we taking Khalil Shakir or DeAndre Swift? I'm leaning, I don't have the full context of the trade is loading right now on my screen, but I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. With DJ Moore leaving the Bears and going to the Bills, I think they're trying to get away from Shakir as a fantasy wide receiver 2 or 3. And DeAndre Swift is, no one's come in Chicago to replace him. Maybe in the draft, Swift gets replaced for the Bears. But I'm going to go with Swift over Shakir here. With the positional scarcity at running back, you're probably getting running back 14 to 18 in Swift. He hasn't really had injury issues recently. He did at the start of his career, but those have somewhat faded. And this did just pull up. I see that this league manager, maybe it's updating their current. They have DeAndre Swift. I'm not sending Swift for Shakir. I like Swift more than Shakir. And then with the context of this league specifically, the person who submitted this question has Swift, and for wide receivers, they have Neighbors, Jefferson, London, Waddle, Jacoby Myers, Parker, Washington. Past that, there's not a reason to send Swift for Shakir. If you're going to send Swift away, try to do something else. Pair Swift with someone else and up tier to a different position, and up tier at a different position. I wouldn't send Swift just to bring in Shakir. Let's cover a couple things from the chat. Let's see. We got David saying, hey, what's up, David? And then Pickens or CD this year from Linkovich. In this year, I'm just taking CD Lamb. I'm taking CD Lamb. If we're talking redraft in the next year, we're 5 months away from the start of the season. I assume CD is going to be the better option. Scoob with the heart me's coming through. Thank you, Scoob. I see the likes coming through. We're at 3,200 likes on the live, on the TikTok likes. Thank you, guys. Ooh, put the heart on my head. On to the next trade. This is NB Shaft. This one, let's take a look at the settings. It shows up, it just popped up on your screen. And dang old Dynasty, NB Shaft asks 12-team Superflex start 10, half point per reception, no tight end premium on top. Are we doing the 106 or Jalen Waddle? This team has the 105 and 106. I have that extra context. Let's check out the notes of the trade. So this is what the user submitted. I have a young team, edge of contending. Maybe the window opens up this year or next. They have the 105, 106, and then some seconds, a 205, 207. 27, they have 2 firsts in 2027. First round pick, just put Waddle on the block. Do I trade him for the 106? So this person has the 106. Should they trade them for Waddle? Their wide receivers currently Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, AJ Brown. Would I rather have the 106 or a shot at one of the non-top 3 wide receivers in this year's draft? With Jalen Waddle in Denver, I might just go Waddle. Let's jump this one over. I'm going to load this one up and we'll go deep because it feels like a very close value. Let's throw this context up for you. Here, NB Shaft, here's their team. This is a 12-team Superflex. They have May, Caleb Williams. Like, they're set at quarterback. They've got quarterbacks to contend this year. At running back, they've got Scatabo, Ken Walker, Bashal Tutin. They have the 105 and the 106. Now, in this deal, they would send the 106 to bring in Waddle to bolster their wide receivers. But they've got Loveland, Gadsden at tight end. There's no tight end premium here, but they could move one of these guys to fill in any issues with running backs. So just filling out wide receivers, Odunze, Burden, AJ Brown, Waddle. I'd be fine with that. I expect that we get good production from Waddle. 105 could also become another wide receiver added in or get traded in a way to make your running backs better. I think I'm taking the Waddle side here. It's not a clear win. So if I have the 106, I'm also just open to shopping it for other things, pairing the 106 with Oronde Gadsden to see what I could get at wide receiver, or pairing the 106 with maybe one of these 27 firsts to see what I could get at wide receiver. You might end up with a better deal. But I don't, if nothing else manifests, I don't mind sending the 106 for Waddle. So we'll submit that one and we'll jump back to here. On the next trade, this one's coming in from Havoc. Weave Crazy Bear stack. You're not wrong. That team does have bears. That team does have bears abound. Bro Chacho, do I think Pickens does anything he did last year or close? Right now it's hard to say. There's a chance Pickens holds out. We've seen CeeDee Lamb hold out. We've seen Jerry Jones let wide receivers and running backs and just players go to holdout situations. So it wouldn't surprise me if Pickens held out. And at this point, and in August, Pickens just becomes cheaper in trades. If you're just talking redraft, like who do I want more? It's CD for sure. I think that's who you were asking about, but am I trading for George Pickens right now? No, because I think that value could come down. Here we go. Do we have this one pulled up? Havoc 5568, the League of Extraordinary A-Holes. This trade comes in 10-team Superflex start 9, so it's a shallower league. Nice shallow waters at the beach. Brock Bowers or Nico Collins. There's no tight end premium here. This is, you can see my face. This is the moment where I'm looking at what this trade is. It's Brock Bowers. We're taking Bowers here. We'll take it starts to feel close in production and production at their position. But with this deal, just give me Bowers. This is the player I would prefer. If we pull up team context here, the person sending away Nico Collins in this deal, they're the one asking the question. They have Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave in a 10-team start 9. I mean, they have Devontae Adams as well. I'm okay with sending Nico Collins to bring in Brock Bowers. You're getting years and years of age, and also Brock Bowers isn't already been proven to be an elite producer. There are times where people bring up age in dynasty trades, and it's not nearly that important, but here it is. Like, Brock Bowers is young and producing, and some of the other options at his position are retiring. Travis Kelce will retire soon. He's playing this year. He's still producing. He was tight end 3 last year, but there's one more year of Kelce and then he's gone. And we don't know that Kenyon Sadiq will replace him. So Brock Bowers could just become more valuable. So I'm taking Brock Bowers here, or I'm okay with moving Nico for Bowers. I feel like that's a win. Next one coming up. We got one from Joe Daddy in a 10-team 1 quarterback start 9. How are we doing on this one? Amon-Ra St. Brown or a slew of options? If you have Amon-Ra St. Brown in a 10-team 1 quarterback start 9, are you sending him for Tet, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and 2 seconds? These are projected mid-seconds according to Joe, who sent this trade in. And I don't know that I am. We're looking at this one and saying, like, man, Tet's going to clear. It's possible Tet takes a step forward, but I'm not sending Amon-Ra for Tet, Krosky-Merritt, and 2 seconds, especially before the draft. Maybe we get through the draft and we say, well, Washington didn't draft a running back, and it's Krosky-Merritt, Rashad White as their running back tandem, and we think maybe Krosky-Merritt takes a step forward. I'm not bringing in 2nd-round picks here to make up the gap here. I'm just going to stay with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And this is a trade where, oh man, I'm pulling up the context of their trade. The team name is Bears Will Always Suck. I'm in Chicago right now. This is a Chicago Cubs hat. Got some Bulls colors Jordans. Bears Will Always Suck as the team name is always going to hurt me, but I'm staying with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can't lead them astray just because their team name is literally my favorite team sucks. Oh, Joe. I'm pretty sure I'm in a league with Joe, and I did not know he was an anti-Bears player. At this point, I think we're under 10 trades remaining. If you have a trade, submit it through the site. I see one coming from TTV. Don't use Sleeper. We are looking into adding other Dynasty platforms to handle this, to answer questions like those. But right now, the trades are coming in from Sleeper. Here's a deal where someone sends Puka Nacua for CeeDee Lamb and Chase Brown. It's a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR. I could do this. I could. If I'm the Puka Nacua side, and this trade is, I might try to get like something else flipped. Like this team has Isaiah Pacheco. Can I get a third for Pacheco, or can I get something for Pacheco? They have James Conner. Can I get something for James Conner? If I'm sending Puka away, this manager, for example, has in a Superflex Cam Ward. Can I get a first for Cam Ward, or can I get something good for Cam Ward? Am I sending Puka for CeeDee Lamb and Chase Brown? You could come out ahead. And I think we're going to call this one like even on value and kind of fine to do. But I would want to accomplish something else. There are times where a trade's value is kind of even, but if I'm the one sending away the best player, I kind of just want to accomplish more. This team has Dalton Kincaid, Isaiah Likely. Can I send some of those away and get a better tight end in this deal? If I have Puka, this trade is okay, but it's probably not the best trade that I could get with the team that this person has. They've got JSN, Puka, Olave, Shakir behind that, Mike Evans at wide receiver. I think I'm going to hold Puka and look for a different option. It's kind of where I'm leaning on this. There are definitely teams where I would be okay with taking the Chase Brown and Lamb side, but this isn't quite one of them. This isn't what I would do. So I'm going to say hold Puka here. I'm running into an issue submitting that one on the review. Let's see if this goes through. There it goes. Okay. Next trade, we're pulling it up. Oh, I almost clicked on one of the trades I submitted as a test one. Here we go. Next trade coming in from Letus. The Beers, the Boys, and the Football is the league. The league settings are 12-team Superflex start 10, PPR with a half-point tight end premium. That's the scoring I use. We've got Rashee Rice, a first, and the 110 or Jamar Chase. Am I sending Rashee Rice, the 110 and a first for Jamar? We're sending a lot. I think Rashee Rice is valued pretty low right now. Let's pull up where he's at on Keep Trade Cut. This trade was sent in how many days ago? Trade was sent in yesterday. This trade came through the site yesterday. We might have a Discord poll for this one. At the same time talking, I'm going to pull up what's Rashee Rice's value looking like right now. Rashee Rice is one of the players that took a big value dip this offseason because of legal issues. But when he was producing, let's throw this up here. In this trade, Rashee Rice is valued around here. So if we build out this trade and Keep Trade Cut, we're looking at Rashee Rice at the floor of his value. People were worried about his legal situation. On February 16th, things get reported, at least where I'm trying to guess where news broke based on this chart. And then his value plummets. The league investigated things and said, we're not going forward with any sort of investigation. And we haven't seen any value rise. So let's, how do I get to the trade calculator? Let's pull this trade up and see How does it sound for sending Rice? I don't want to sell low on Rice is my concern when evaluating this trade. I think it was Rice, the 110 and a 27 first. I don't endorse using a trade calculator, but I do like to take a look at stuff like this to get a gauge of where it puts things. It was Jamar Chase, right? This is going to say Chase is more valuable, and it's shooting low on Rashee Rice. Like even with something like this, Rice, the 110 and a 27 first, am I sending it for Jamar Chase? If we try to pull in a player that fits in where I think Rashee Rice's value will bounce back to, how does that look? Like Rashee Rice at 4,800, even if we just went to like a player sitting at 57 or 6,000, like what's a wide receiver sitting at around 6,000 value? Let's try to find that and see where that swings things. I don't know that I want to send. I think that kind of breaks into what I'm thinking on this deal. I don't want to send Rashee Rice away right now, unless it's a clear win and he's being valued accurately. Right now, he's listed as wide receiver 24. If we shoot up to, this is saying players to even out the trade. How do we, here's Rashee Rice. Can we view him in the rankings and just jump up? Like he's ranked behind Devonta Smith. I like Rice much more than Devonta Smith. He's ranked behind Carnell Tate. I like him kind of probably around Tate or more. Who are we taking? Rashee Rice or Rome Odunze? I'm probably taking Rice. I'm not that worried about his legal situation when he's playing. He's looking really good. Am I taking him over Nico Collins? I can't comfortably say that I'm taking over Nico Collins. So even if we just go back to this trade and say, are we sending Rome Odunze? It looks okay. It looks okay. Let's go to the team context here. They've got Puka, Tet, Rice, and they have Odunze. Am I sending all of these picks and Rice for Jamar Chase? I think that's okay. I think we're not hitting too low, which was my worry when I first pulled this up with Rashee Rice. If I'd like to do it in a different way, but I don't hate sending it for Jamar Chase. Where are you guys feeling on that one? We'll take a look, see if anyone disagrees. My worry was Rashee Rice would be valued a little bit too low in the deal, and I'll pull that back up for you so you can see the full context. Rice, the 110, which could be pretty weak. The 110 listed at about 3,900 on Keep Trade Cut. I think I could make this deal. So I'm going to, let's see, as a Chase manager, you wouldn't do it. H. White saying, give me Jamar. My really only concern was, are we shooting super low on Rashee Rice coming off of this? And this trade does not value Rashee Rice the way that Keep Trade Cut shows it. Which is one of the reasons I don't think you should be using Keep Trade Cut. Because Rashee Rice's value is super low on that site, but this trade isn't matching that value. So we're okay. If you punch it in on Trade Calculator, it's going to say Jamar Chase heavily clears. I think I'm okay sending this for Chase. And we're getting that in the chat. Rick saying as a Chase manager, I wouldn't do it. H. White saying, give me Jamar. I'm saying Jamar. Next one comes in from Joseph Perry in Super Dirty Dynasty, the nastiest Dynasty league. It's a big one. It's a big one. Let's take a look at the scoring. It's 10 teams, Superflex start 9. So you're starting 90 players. That's 30 less than a 12 team by 10. So the higher producing players become more valuable. So as you're looking at this and looking at someone like Tyler Algier, if you're looking at what I play in 12 by 10, Tyler Algier's value goes even less and kind of to the point of no value. So here, what do we like? There's no tight end premium. Jackson Dart, Emeka Ibuka, the 106 and the 306. I'm going to say in a 10 team start 9, I don't really care about the 306. It almost doesn't really matter in this trade. So Dart on that side, Dart, Ibuka. On the other side, we got Brock Bowers, Tyler Algier, Ken Walker, and 2 seconds. The 205 in this year's draft. And if we're talking about why this year's draft is a weaker draft class, like it affects the 205. The 205 becomes way less valuable. 27 second could be slightly valuable. We might get into the range of players that I actually want to draft with a 27 second. So let's start breaking this down and crossing things off a bit one by one. We got 5 players on one side, 4 on the other. The 106. Which side are we going on here? Like, I'm leaning the Bauer side with the best player. It's feeling really close. Here's how I'm breaking it down. I mean, am I going Ibuka or Ken Walker? I think maybe a slight edge to Ken Walker. Am I going Brock Bowers or Dart and a first? There's no tight end premium here. So I don't hate Dart and the 106 for Bowers. I feel like that's around even. Tyler Algier doesn't really play. I like Ibuka over Ken Walker. So I think I'm okay with the Dart side. Are we getting strong disagreement? I think I'm okay with the Dart side. The team submitting this trade has Jackson Dart. And they say that this trade was completed prior to Walker signing with Kansas City. I think they sent Ken Walker and Brock Bowers, and they brought in Jackson Dart, Ibuka, and the 106. I'm not going to clap for it. I don't feel like we've got a slam dunk win sending away Walker and Bowers. We're sending away seconds and getting value for them. We're sending away Algier. I don't know that he really comes into the value calculation. I'm going to call it even and say, like, I don't feel like we've done a massive thing here. This team did not need a quarterback. So I'm going to call it even and say, for the manager who submitted this, let's pull this up and talk through kind of what I'm thinking. For the manager who submitted this, I'm not sure I love that this trade went through. Here, it's pulled up. So here's the pieces in the deal. And I think I'm going to commit them to memory and see if I can talk through them. They brought in Jackson Dart. They already had Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield and Tyler Shuck in a 10-team superflex. Like, they sent away Brock Bowers. They sent away Ken Walker. They bring in Ibuka. Ibuka's good. Like, Ibuka helps them. But if you have this team, what do we need? Jackson Dart? Maybe we can take Jackson Dart and send him away, but this is a situation where we're bringing in a player that we don't really need to use. And I don't think we're getting a big enough smash on value where sending away Jackson Dart or sending away something else really makes sense. I don't know if this team has set themselves up to make a killer follow-up trade. Follow-up trades are available, but I don't think they smashed enough value to bring them to 4 startable quarterbacks. Allen, Dart, Mayfield, Shuck. If I had this team, I might just want Brock Bowers and Ken Walker to pair Ken Walker with Harold Fannin and bring in a different receiver a different way. Or send in Cam Scatabo and Fannin, or Scatabo and Bowers to bring in 2 really good receivers. I don't know that I love the way that this trade wound up. I think that's where I'm feeling on that one. I'm going to call it even, or even just say, like, I kind of wish you hadn't done it. And we'll submit that one. Let's pull up the next one that we've got in the queue. This comes from Mostly Pallone. It came in yesterday in a 12-team start 9 superflex PPR with a half-point tight end premium. Which side do we like here? We got the stud, Jamar Chase on one side, Chase, Sanders, and a second, or Tet, Marv, HN, a second and a third. I mean, the 209 for the 206. If we're talking about a trade involving Jamar Chase, let's just cross them out. It doesn't really matter. These are just dart throws, and you let someone else pick who's also pretty likely to miss at 206, and maybe you get a guy at 209. Over the past multiple years, we have not shown that we're actually good enough at knowing who's a valuable second round pick. So if at any point I'm fine with trading back from the 206 to the 209, just as a tangent, I'm fine with trading back 3 spots in the second to get value elsewhere. I don't know that that's what's happening here. Coolio popped in the chat. I think we started with a trade from Coolio at 7:30. So that will be on the YouTube video, Coolio. I'm pretty sure. I know I know I've said Coolio today, and I'm hoping that it was in relation to a trade. For this deal, am I sending Jamar Chase to bring in Tet, Marv, Etienne? Possibly. This manager says they already completed this trade, but they're sending the haul. They already had insane wide receiver depth. They got Jamar Chase. So would you send away Tet, Marv, and Travis Etienne? They have Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Puka, Garrett Wilson. They're running backs after making this trade and bringing in Chase. So this team sent away Travis Etienne, a second and a third. They got in a second and Sanders on top. And they still have Devon Achane, Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey at running back. I'm taking the Jamar Chase side here. I think that's fine. If this team is looking pretty good in this league, if we're in a position of power, is this a trade I would send away? Like, I like Tet McMillan a lot. I'm okay with moving on from these things to go up to Jamar Chase, though. It's not a cheap trade. They paid the iron price. They paid the full price for Jamar, but I think I'm okay with it. It's not a situation where I would always send this package, but I'm okay with taking the Jamar Chase side. At this point, we have 1, 2, 3 remaining in the queue. I'm going to refresh it. Yep, we've gotten another one in from Grayson, so we'll bump that number up to 4. Let me make sure. I think we just covered this one. Did I? Trade has already been reviewed. Cool. That one's done. That one's done. I'm just doing a bit of housekeeping on the browser I'm using to control all of this. Camden Plus says, "What's up, Jack? I'm back." Welcome back, Camden. I remember Camden. KTM Kid said, Chase owner said I would not do it. I think that was a couple trades ago, not the specific one that we just looked at. I think that was the Rashee Rice 110. We'll set that one live and pull this one up. Someone is saying the Chase owner said they would not do it. They're referring to that trade. And we said we're okay with taking the Chase side. And I think it's closer than what I'm hearing from the chat, where a lot of people are saying they would not send Jamar Chase. I feel like it's close. Here is the next one to cover on here. A. Taylor asks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Godwin, or Tet McMillan, Emeka Ibuka? And this one I know came through the Discord. Let me pull up the Discord results, because I think this one was super close. Rick is saying that one would be super hard, but typically you would be tempted. Is that the which Chase trade is that related to, Rick? And then Fantasy RZ, am I trading a 27 first for Bashal Tootin and Dobbs? I mean, Rick, I'm kind of taking trades through the site. Or Fantasy RZ. Fantasy, I'm kind of taking trades through the site. Coolio is answering the way I would, I think. But we're taking trades through the site, Rick. I keep saying Rick. Fantasy RZ. Something in my brain reads the words Fantasy RZ and says, well, that's not a first name, so just flush it out. But Fantasy RZ is entering a trade question. We really like people popping in, saying hi, posting stuff in the chat, but we're taking stuff through the site right now to test the website. Let's take a look at this trade. I was pulling up the Discord results. Here's where Discord is on my computer. I got distracted by not knowing where Discord is on my computer. This one did get posted in the... I'm finding this one. It got posted here. Okay. We got 4 votes from the community on this one in our Discord. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chris Godwin, or Tet McMillan and Emeka Ibuka. And I think I'm going to agree with where the Discord has gone. I think I'm just taking Tet and Ibuka on this one. We're missing the best player in the deal. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Chris Godwin, I like this upside for this year. If I have Amon-Ra, there's plenty of situations where I would take the upside of Tet and Ibuka and do a slight down tier and gain more value. Especially in this situation. So this person is sending Amon-Ra and Chris Godwin. I feel like you're getting paid out on Chris Godwin. So when I have a trade where I'm sending the best player, I also want to send the worst player and get paid for them. There's not this team. This is a 12 team league. So there's only 11 other managers, and there's a good situation. There's a good chance a lot of them just don't want Godwin. So if I can get paid for Godwin and get 2 good young receivers, I am fine with that. See, Juju not on beat joining in. Ben, a minute. Juju, I hope you're doing well. That's just, well, I don't always call out people as they join, but if it's Juju, we'll call it out. Welcome in. Welcome back. Juju, we've missed you. We do have a question in the chat. User 1966, do you only discuss Dynasty? I'll discuss anything you want, big dog. I'll discuss anything you like. There's just not really any trades to cover in redraft right now. Juju, it has been a while. It has been a while. We've got weekly Dynasty trade shows on Wednesday right now for trades. If more trades are coming through, we're open to adding in another nighttime live stream to cover them. And then we also have, let's pull this up. Let's go. What we will launch, I mean, we'll come back with another show in the next, I think we're going to have at least 2 shows next week. Because on the browser, we have launched our team advice page. So right now you can come to trade advice on the website, enter in your trade. Once you've logged in and synced your sleeper leagues, you can enter in your trades and get, submit them here. If you click this option, it'll say request expert review, and that'll put it into the queue for the trade show, or you can just post it to the Discord from here and people will vote on each other's trades there. It posted to our Dynasty trade channel there and people vote on them. Like the trade that we had pulled up, Amon-Ra and Chris Godwin for Tet McMillan and Emeka Egbuka. The community chose the Tet McMillan side, and I'm going with the Tet McMillan side. You can also submit your Dynasty team for a team review using this page here, team advice. Once you have your leagues synced and you have a team selected, this is my list of teams that I'm in Dynasty. We're in a couple. Say I wanted that team reviewed, you just click request team review, and then that'll submit it. And I've got a queue of them. Here's my queue of team reviews. Looks like we've got quite a few to go through. So we'll have 2 shows next week, one doing trades, one doing team reviews. So you can also get those submitted. I think that's all I wanted to show when looking at the site. Let's jump back to trades. So on this one, I'm going Tet McMillan and Egbuka. Next one up, the league is Sacks in the City. This comes from Marino 10. T. Higgins or the 109? Give me T. Higgins. Give me T. Higgins here. 109 could be another good receiver prospect. I don't know that we're going to end up with, if we're just counting out the way that we think the NFL draft will go, how many wide receivers do we think could be taken in the first round? The 109 is borderline. And with the type of running backs in this year's draft, I don't know that I want to just hold the 109 and hope I get a receiver or hope I get a great prospect. So I'd be fine moving the 109 to bring in T. Higgins, especially in this league. It's a 10-team. I'm reading the league settings now, and you're going to hear a hard turn in the opinion. If I have the 109, I would love to send it for T. Higgins if my league is a 10-team, 1 quarterback, start 8. It is highly unlikely that a player taken at the 109 in this year's rookie draft puts up the amount of league value that you get from T. Higgins in a 10-team, 1 quarterback start 8. We're looking at 80 players started compared to 120. That's going to cut off a ton of options that just become valueless in a dynasty league. And T. Higgins loses none of that value. So if we're saying we're dropping from 120 players in a 12-team start 8 to 80 players in a 10-team or a 12-team start 10 to a 10-team start 8, all of the value that gets associated with those 40 players going from 120 to 80 just gets assigned to the players that still exist, that still get started. So someone like T. Higgins just becomes more valuable. So in a 12-team start 10, what I call like a standard dynasty scoring, it's still T. Higgins. I'm still taking T. Higgins, but if it's a 10-team start 8, it's T. Higgins. It's not close. We say, thank you very much. And then we laugh all the way to the bank with T. Higgins. So we're taking T. Higgins by a lot on that one. We've got 2 more in the queue. Grayson's came through. It says 6 minutes ago. I haven't refreshed the time. 2 more in the queue. The voice is holding up. The voice is holding up, gang. We streamed a bunch earlier. If you're someone who was watching our daily fantasy streams during the season, I don't know why I keep pointing over here. Maybe that just means the past for me. It's not the corner of the room. I'm talking about the past when I do this. If you were watching our daily fantasy live streams in the past, in season, we have been streaming games during the day. There's no fantasy or NFL to really talk about on a daily basis. So we've been streaming gaming. On TikTok, there is Boom Bust Gaming where we do that. So we just don't, if you like fantasy football and you don't want to hear about games, you won't. It's on its own page. But if you're looking to see this ugly face in this room, it's here every day. In this deal, RJ Harvey in the 203 or Devonta Smith. For Lil Uzi, when I read this, I just want to say Lil Susie. And for the sake of this and me not going crazy, I am just going to call them Lil Susie. Susie sent away, or they are the RJ Harvey side. Am I sending Harvey and the 203 for Devonta Smith? I could. I don't hold high hopes that the 203 is going to become something in this year's draft. This is a 12 team. It's only a one quarterback. So in this situation, am I okay with, like, that's going to make RJ Harvey slightly less valuable and Devonta Smith slightly more valuable? Like, maybe we get a big breakout from Devonta Smith or from RJ Harvey this year. The person sending away Harvey has Genty, Ken Walker, Blake Corum, and the 103. I think I'm okay with doing this trade. I don't know that I would send Devonta Smith in reverse. Is probably a better way to say this. So I'm gonna stick with Devonta Smith and submit that as the side I'm taking. I definitely would not send Devonta Smith for that package. And it feels close. Like, am I for sure always sending Harvey and the 203 away for Devonta Smith? Not always. But I'm never sending Devonta Smith to bring that package back. Let's see. AR's got a question in the chat. We are just doing our trade questions, and Jason, same, through the site. So right now, all the trade advice, all the team review advice is free while we're testing out the site. So any questions in the chat at this stage, we do just ask that you take the steps to enter them through the site. Otherwise, they'll stay free, but unanswered. Answered and free through the site. Also free, but unanswered in the chat. Final one that we have pulled up here, Grayson in a 14-team Superflex 9 starters. So this is deep. It says 9 starters. I'm typically playing 12 teams, start 10, but it's 2 extra teams. So this is going to be deep. No tight end premium. We have a PPR. Are we sending away Stroud, Kraft, DJ Moore? No tight end premium, and we have a tight end involved for Joe Burrow, a second and a third. We were going a 27 third for a third this year. I don't care about that. We're kind of just going to knock that off the deal. There's a 27 third on the Stroud side and the 307 in this year's deal. Just erase it. An early 27 second for DJ Moore. If we knew for sure that it was early, there's a chance, like, we'll call that fine. You get the production of DJ Moore right now. So even that, I think we somewhat cross off. And then when we look at it and say, is Joe Burrow better than Stroud and Kraft together? It is, and it's by a lot. And it's by enough to make up for any DJ Moore issues or any third round picks in different year swaps. I'm taking the Joe Burrow side, and I'm not really worried about it. That is reviewing and make sure that one goes through. Cool. Done on that one. And I think that has taken us through the queue. Let's update the page here. We have updated through all the trades that we have. We'll jump to the browser and just check out, because I know we had some people posting them in their trades in the chat. Here is how you do it. If you want your trade reviewed on the next trade show, here's our website, boombustfantasy.com. It lines up right up with the page name on TikTok. I'm currently logged in. We'll just log out and go through. It's pretty easy to get your trade submitted. I know Bro Chacho has said he would come find the site. We've got people jumping in on the chat. We've covered the trades in the queue. If you are looking to have your trade reviewed, yeah, that's a word. Sometimes when you're talking a lot, words that you're saying, your brain starts to question, are those words or am I just Am I just barfing out mush? Here it is, boombustfantasy.com. There's a banner here saying the site is currently in testing. If you found a bug, you can post that in our Discord. The site does interact with our fantasy football Discord. So when you're hitting get started, it's going to ask you to log in using your Discord account. We will be updating this to just tie to a Gmail for people who don't want to be using Discord. But right now we are in testing. So we're testing, like, does it always post to Discord? Does it look good and clean and usable in Discord? We're testing things right now. That's why all the trades are free. You click continue with Discord. If you're logged in, like I am, the Boombot will say, hey, authorize this stuff. It just accesses your email and uses your email to let me know to really just take your Discord username and say that you posted a trade. Once you've logged in the top right, you can come to your profile page. It's going to say Sleeper Leagues. You enter your Sleeper username and hit Sync Leagues. Mine have already synced. Here are the leagues that I am in for 2026 so far. You can pick any of these, or once you've logged in and synced, here's a drop down of any of the leagues you want. You can pick any of them. It'll update it right here. And then if you come to the trade advice page, you type it in like any trade calculator. And if you check this box that says request expert review, I am calling myself an expert. You can then enter your trade players here. Say you want to say Josh Allen or Drake May as your trade. You've got that. You can hit submit for community and expert review. And if I clicked this, it would post this trade to our Discord in the Dynasty trade channel. And it would also post it to the queue for getting covered on the trade show. That is how we take in our trades. And right now, while we're testing out this site to clean up any bugs or any issues, all of the trade questions are free. So for Jason in the chat with their trade questions, post them on the site. And at this point, we will get to them on the next trade show that we have on Wednesday of next week. All of these trade shows do live on YouTube afterwards as just a full recap of the widescreen version. If you're watching on TikTok, I think I only have it set up in widescreen, and then you can watch it in portrait, but it probably looks pretty bad. We are at the ending of the show here. Thank you very much for hanging with us. If you want to catch some of it that you missed, just again, like we were saying, check it out on YouTube. We also have Dynasty trade videos on YouTube. As we get closer to the start of the redraft season, we'll go right back to covering redraft as well, just like we did last year. Thank you very much. We are signing off for this week.